Welcome back. The Constitutional Court says it will hand down judgment on Advocate Shaun Abrahams' position as the Director of Public Prosecutions on Monday. A court application was brought by Corruption Watch, Freedom Under Law and CASAC challenging his appointment. Meanwhile, senior NPA officials Nomgcobo Jiba and Lawrence Mkhwebi had until the end of today to provide reasons to the President why they should not be suspended. They resumed work last month after the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned a High Court judgment which struck them off the roll. ENCA's Nicolas Bauer joins us now. He's been monitoring both stories. So let's start with today, Jiba and Mkhwebi filing those papers.
Indeed. We got confirmation from Jiba and Mkhwebi's legal representative, Zola Majavu, that they have legally complied with the President's request to provide those reasons by the close of business today as to why the duo should not be suspended pending the outcome of that inquiry. And it all seems to be coming together in terms of a legal argument for them. We didn't get the full details of exactly the reasons that they furnished the President, but the suggestion was that until such time there is a parallel process within the Constitutional Court, until such time that draws to an end, it'll be as though there is two processes trying to decide the same thing. And just to jog our memories, this refers exactly to the Supreme Court of Appeal judgment that allowed Jiba and Mkhwebi back onto the role of advocates. The General Counsel of the Bar is now taking that to the Constitutional Court, challenging that finding that they should not have been disbarred as advocates. And as such, the legal argument for them is, wait until the Constitutional Court has ventilated that matter fully, Mr. President, and then let's talk about whether or not we need a disciplinary inquiry. Because I suppose it doesn't necessarily work well for his client should the Constitutional Court find not in her favour and Lawrence Mkhwebi's favour. But should the President proceed with this inquiry into their fitness to hold office, well, it may be a moot point should the Constitutional Court rule against them.
It's something that seems that President Cyril Ramaphosa has to get right, because it's the same argument being used by Tom Moyane, isn't it?
Indeed. And you know, many legal analysts have told me over the past couple of days, and also the political analysts that I've spoken to, it's untenable for Jiba and Mkhwebi to continue in this position, seen as though they occupy such high positions within the National Prosecuting Authority. It may throw into jeopardy some of the cases that the NPA has gone ahead and prosecuted while they were at the helm. So in other words, if a court is still busy deciding whether or not the pair are fit and proper people to practice it as advocates, never mind fulfill their position at the National Prosecuting Authority, you can only imagine what high-level cases could be drawn before the courts based on the fact that those that were found guilty could argue, well, it wasn't fit and proper people running the NPA when this went ahead. Secondly, well, we've got that issue of Tom Moyane. We know how this has already been dragged into the public with suggestions that Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be called as a witness at this Commission of Inquiry. Can you imagine it? He can't afford politically another public battle. And, you know, we understand that he's trying to set governance on a better course. The President has made no bones about the fact that he wants to try and improve the image of governance in South Africa. And if he's going to try and going about by walking the talk in that regard, it's not going to help him if these matters are drawn out for a lengthy period of time, and also that the dirty linen of not only SARS, but maybe even the National Prosecuting Authority gets aired in public.
Yeah. So staying with the NPA mess, let's go on to Shaun Abrahams, who's going to know his fate on Monday. Give us a backstory before we go ahead.
Well, this is also, it's been a court case upon court case upon court case. The Constitutional Court is going to decide on a High Court judgment, which essentially struck down Shaun Abrahams' appointment as National Prosecuting Director, and said that the payout that was given to his predecessor, Nkwalisi Nkwasana, was actually invalid. He was given a seven-figure sum, or beg your pardon, an eight-figure sum to walk away from his position. Also, very soon after, a commission of inquiry into his own fitness to hold office was called off on the very, very first day. The various MPO bodies and legal interests bodies like the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, bringing this matter before court. The High Court ruling that Nkwalisi Nkwasana needs to be brought back as MPA head, and as such, Shaun Abrahams' appointment is invalid. They went ahead and challenged that at the Constitutional Court. As far as I understand, the presidency, when it was still under the helm of President Jacob Zuma, also wanted to go to the Constitutional Court and challenge that. As far as we can see, President Cyril Ramaphosa, now at the helm of the presidency, withdrawing that challenge. And as such, the Constitutional Court is only going to be ruling on the challenge brought to it by Shaun Abrahams on Monday. I don't want to call out what the highest court in the land is going to do on Monday. But should they rule against Shaun Abrahams, well, you need to immediately appoint, at least in an acting capacity, in a head of the MPA. Who does Cyril Ramaphosa do that at this point in time? The names that are being bandied about, you got the likes of Vusi Pikoli, maybe even returning to the post that he was unceremoniously pushed out of just over a decade ago. Other names that I mentioned, Marion Sparg, as well as Ina Malindi, the advocate that represented Jacob Zuma in the whole spear debacle many a moon ago. So it's exciting times. There's going to be a lot of movement at the beginning of next week. And who knows, by this time next week, Friday, we may well have a very brand new head of the MPA, even in an acting capacity, Shaun.
Yeah, all right, thanks for that, appreciate it. Our reporter Nicolaus Bauer.